Hey, good morning. Hi, Manish.
Good morning, Ajit. How are you?
Absolutely good, man. So, welcome to our first episode on Pureblu Spotlight. To all our viewers, Manish and me are the founders of Pureblu, and we've actually put this together based on our domain expertise. I come from a background of HVAC for almost close to 25 years. And Manish, you want to tell us about your background?
Yeah, so I've been involved with technology for 20, 25 plus years. So the big thing that everyone, always is interested in is I started Shadi.com back in 1996, sold it very early on, and then since then been involved with a variety of startups. And that's in fact how we got connected. We had a common friend, and you were looking for some technology help, and I kind of was kind of okay, fine, let me just see what this is all about. And after listening to your vision and what you want to do with the industry, I thought it was very interesting because there's a lot of things that can be done from a technology perspective. So I work with a lot of startups based in Bombay and other parts of India and help them with their technology stack. But there's so much potential in the HVAC space, and it's quite interesting. So that's kind of my background, all tech, all the time.
That's right. And it was from this, and being in the industry for about 25 years. One of the things that I've learned is that there is so much of inefficiency around there, and lots of problems that need to be fixed. And we kind of picked up some of those problems, and we said, let's solve it. And the first product that we put together was a services platform for primarily small businesses who can actually manage their entire services operations on the cloud. And that was a SaaS application. And we've got over close to 100 dealers, more than 100 actually, in close to about 15 states across India who use this platform day in and day out to manage the business. But having said that, in the pandemic, we didn't waste our time and we built our second product line. Manish, you want to talk about it? You led that whole innovation around the second services. Why don't you tell us about Smart
Yeah.
AMC?
So it's called Smart AMC, and it's really, it sounds kind of interesting. There's really two parts to it. One is the smart piece, and then one is the AMC piece. So really, it's an annual maintenance contract for your air conditioning, and in that is actually the smart piece, which is this. This is an IoT device, something that we kind of did a proof of concept, designed it, and then we decided to get it manufactured. And I, of course, thought that hey, we're going to get this manufactured probably somewhere in China. But guess what? This entire Make in India initiative, there are quite a few people that actually do it. So we actually found somebody that does the manufacturing here in India and surprisingly in Bombay. So really, Smart AMC is really three things. One is the annual maintenance contract piece of it, the IoT device. And the real beauty and the benefit of it is if you're a large company or a medium-sized business, you've got multiple locations in the same city, or you've got multiple locations across the country, you actually just come to Pureblu, you get the annual maintenance contract from us, and then we basically use all of our dealers to basically do the servicing of the annual maintenance contract. And then the beauty of the IoT device with this is you actually get daily and monthly reports of your energy consumption for the entire location. So a lot of people ask us, does it really matter? I get a bill at the end of the month. Why do I need that from you guys? Well, first of all, it's included in the price of the AMC, very competitive. So it's almost like a free piece of equipment. But more importantly, it's really useful if you run a business or you have a restaurant, you want to know the energy consumption. What's the peak period for energy consumption? You can compare it against, this Monday versus last Monday or the previous Monday, things like that. So it gives you a lot of analytics. And from that, you can actually kind of, as we get more and more down that path, is we'll be able to figure out when a machine or an air conditioning unit is actually faulty, because it typically will end up drawing more electricity from the grid than one that's working at peak performance. So these are some of the things that we can actually start doing, AI, machine learning in the future. We're just getting these devices installed now, and my guess is the AI machine learning part will happen in the future. So that's really one of the reasons why I got involved. When Ajit first came to me and said, hey, I've got this air conditioning HVAC thing, I was kind of like, yeah, that sounds interesting, but not all that. But then when he talked about the vision of what is happening in the industry, and he's been involved in it for so long, I could really see that not a lot of people were focused on it, because let's be realistic. Air conditioning and cooling is not that interesting and sexy, but the reality is without it, you can't do a lot of things. So that's kind of the first, like I said, during the pandemic, this was something that we launched, and we see a lot of great potential with this product.
Amazing, Manish. Yeah, and we're going to change all that so it doesn't look sexy, the industry, but we'll make something out of it, and we're going to put this. We're going to fix those problems. But
Yep.
hey, Pure Blue Spotlight is not talking about our product or anything of that sort. Pure Blue is built on three important foundation pillars. One is reliability, productivity, and accountability. These are the three foundation pillars of Pure Blue. And Pure Blue Spotlight comes in a monthly kind of a event. This event should last more than maybe 20 to 30 minutes. But the whole idea is to bring about what reliability, productivity, and accountability means for us. And we're not going to talk to you about what is available on the platform, but we're going to bring out simple stories and simple examples of as to how you can actually use these productivity, reliability, and accountability both in your work, in your professional life, in your businesses, and also in your personal life. And that's the whole intent. What do you say, Manish?
Yeah, no, the idea really is just to kind of, have an open communications channel with the industry. So we do this once a month, and it could be a wide variety of different topics. We want to bring in people from the industry, let's say specific HVAC dealers that are using different tools, or they find something interesting. We want to talk to the manufacturer as well. So it's really just a spotlight on the industry and really helping and giving back to you so you can make your life, much easier and run your business much more efficiently. And it goes back to those three pillars of reliability, productivity, and accountability. So today is the very first episode, as you know, and today we're going to talk about productivity. What makes it, how do you, with everything that's coming at us, via email, via WhatsApp, via video, via Zoom. Of course, during the pandemic, everybody was doing video sessions. Now we're doing video. But the question is, how do you really be proactive and productivity wise? How do you manage all of that? So, we're going to have Ajit kind of talk about how he manages his schedule, because he actually does quite a bit of stuff. He is not only running Nova, he's got Pureblu as well, but he's also the president of the, Indian Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Trades Association, RATA. So, there's a lot of different hats that he's wearing. But, if you call him, he's like, hey, I've got all the time in the world to speak to you. And it's almost kind of surprising, but he's got it really down to how to manage his time effectively. And when you can manage your time effectively, then you can actually think about the future and, what I call tactical versus strategic thinking. So that's kind of what today's session is about, is something as simple as, using Google Calendar and how Ajit does it. So take it away, Ajit.
Yeah, right. So, Manisha, when you talk about productivity, especially in small businesses, you want to actually, everyone is talking about how do I get my people, my team, my employees, and everything productive. And I think that's important. But the first step, okay, and especially in small businesses, the owner has a huge role to play into it. The guy who sits at the right at the top of that value chain has a huge role in it. What kind of culture he develops when it comes to productivity is at the starting point. And let's take that first important thing is all about your time. How do you manage your time? It's not just only for you, but the way you do it also sends a message across to the rest of the team that this is how it is. We've got 8 hours, and within that 8 hours, we need to maximize our returns. The profiles will change. We will continue to multitask, but that 8 hours will always remain 8 hours. So, how do you actually manage it? And from your daily work ethics or the way you manage, you also start building that culture of productivity. And that is extremely important before you start building the processes and the reviews around it. So first is the concept, and then is the how do you execute the whole thing. So from a concept perspective, I use a very simple mechanism, which is science, which is very available. It's there available, and everyone's gone through it. It's 4 quadrants. All right. So one is you have important and not important, and the second is urgent and not urgent. So anything that comes to you, you can put it within these 4 quadrants, like stuff that is important and urgent, stuff that's important and not urgent, and then there is stuff that's not important, urgent, and not important, not urgent. Now, I've just kind of picked up 2 things from my work and 2 things from my personal, and I've put it onto these various quadrants. Now, this is just a concept, right? I mean, first you get a clarity on the concept, and once you have clarity on the concept, then you figure out how do I execute it on a on a daily basis. So, if you have meetings, like say for example, review meetings with your teams, you have client meetings, they are all predefined, right? I'm going to meet you at this time, and that's what it is. So that's important and that's urgent. Now, if you have a doctor's appointment, the doctor is going to give you an appointment, and that's fixed, that's predefined. If you have a school PTA, you don't have a choice, you got to be there, that's predefined. So I call them important and urgent. Then there's a second whole quadrant which is called as important but not urgent. Now, what is this kind of important, not urgent? One is call clients with overdue payments. I mean, payments tend to affect your cash flow, and it's not that I have to do it right now, but I need to remember that I need to make that call to collect that payment. And usually, bad paymasters come to you after everyone's tried it out and it's moved up it, and then you say, okay, these are the ones which are creating troubles. You'll have to step in, and that you need to follow up. So it's not urgent, but it's really important. Say, for example, if I have to make a training schedule for my team members, now that's not important right now. I mean, it's not urgent, but it's important that I need to actually get it done at some point. Say, if I, on a personal level, if I have to plan a summer holiday for my family, I don't have to do it now, but I have to remember that, I've got my wife and my kids all waiting for to tell me that, hey, Ajit is going to put a plan together and discuss it. Networking, you need to, as entrepreneurs, you're constantly networking, and you need to have meetings with other people. And how do you plan those? It's not urgent, but it's very important to do that. So these are the kind of things that, now, over a period of time, every time you have to do something, by default you will get into one of these quadrants. Now, for me, it becomes very natural. Moment I hear that I have something to do, it goes into one of these tasks. Say, for example, checking emails and WhatsApp messages, which just ends up taking a lot of your time. Now, that's not important, but it's urgent. It's not that I have to keep checking emails every 5 minutes, but can I check it 4 times a day? Can I check it 5 times a day? And that's good enough. And when you check that, you just finish it off and you clear it. But it's urgent that I need to clear all those communications within the same day. And so these are the kind of different quadrants. And then there is the not important, not urgent. Not important, not urgent means it's not that you can just ignore it. I mean, I want to read a book that's pending, right? And I've got a whole list of books that's pending. I want to change my wardrobe. I've been using that same clothes again and again. Now I need another one. Nothing says clothes don't tear. You need to put a timeline to it, saying that, hey, listen, it's time to change your wardrobe, kind of a stuff. Or the social dinners, or you got to go out. So once you get a hang of this whole thing, over a period of time, you start putting in one of these quadrants. And once you've done that, I have 4 terminologies which I call for these. So anything that's important and urgent, I call them events, right? Then you have something which is important and not urgent, I call them reminders. And then there is not important and urgent, I call them on the go. On the go is, it is unplanned for. Somebody calls me and tells me that, hey, listen, I have a problem. Can you just show up here? It could be a client, it could be your personal stuff. You need to always have that time space for that things which you have not planned for, or which are beyond your control. So that I call that on the go. And then there are tasks. Tasks are, which is what I said is, it's not important, not urgent. You put it as a task so that you know exactly what's to be done. So this is the broad concept of time management. So once you've got the concept, then you talk about how do you execute it on a daily basis. So what do you think about this, Manish? This is my idea of, in terms of time management, before I actually show you how do I go on a daily basis to manage these quadrants. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, this looks like a very typical McKinsey 2x2 quadrant, the 2x2 chart. But yeah, the reality is that's exactly what everybody faces. But I think what's key is how you map that into a calendar solution. That's the main thing, because everybody probably knows what you're describing, but you've actually laid it out very beautifully. And now how you actually map it into the calendar, that's really what I think that's what people will learn from this, session today, is that, you map it into that quadrant, and then from there you can actually put it into your calendar. And this is something that I do very similar as well, and I think it works very well. And that's the only way you can manage your time, is by really using, a calendaring solution. And the other thing I want to let people know is everything that we discussed today is available for free. So we're talking about Gmail, we're talking about using Google Calendar. All these things are free, and I would say what 80 to 90% of the users that we talk about are using Android phones, so that's actually built in. That's the other thing. And if you're an iOS user, you can always download those apps. So that's the beauty of it. This is not we're saying, hey, you need to buy some program and spend X amount of rupees a month. It's already there. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all about your thought process. If you start getting yourself organized, it's as simple as your time management. That culture percolates not only into your entire activity but also within the organization. And the idea of also showcasing is this is the thought process that Manish and me come from actually when we build simple systems to use, and how we build Pureblu. Picking up very complex problems and trying to simplify it through a concept and how you can easily use it. So now that you've seen the 4 quadrants, this is the way I go about using the quadrant. Now, this is a simple Google Calendar, right? It's available free. It's there for you. And what you need to do is when you actually have an event. Now, this is the beauty is you can do it on your laptop, on your mobile. You can do it on the go wherever you are, and they all sync together. It could be anything. I tend to use Google Calendar. You can use so many other platforms that's already available. So first is when you go out and create, you automatically get these 3 options, right? Event, task, and reminder. Right. So this is the beauty of it. So you put a task reminder and you say, hey, I got a workout coming up, uh, and just giving you an example. And I say I start my day in the morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I put that time 6:30 to 7:30, and I can say if I'm going to do it constantly every week, I can repeat it. I can choose the days when I repeat it. So let's say I put Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days, and that's it. So when I put that across and I save it, I kind of get those reminders here, right? So this is how it kind of shows up. Now, let me just show you what I have done. I've just entered all those quadrant images into the sheet out here. So you have these workouts which I just created. So it already repeats for all the days that I've chosen. There are events which I've created here, which shows what are the reviews that I've set, everything. And then there are tasks which are set here, which shows me what are the different kinds of tasks that I need to do. Now what happens is in the event section, it is predefined. Now, often when you start a task or when you set a meeting, you say, let's meet up at 11. And I think that's the first language you need to change. You need to say that, hey, let's meet up between 11 to 12. There has to be an end to that meeting. Whether it is personal, sometimes that if there is no end, then you make sure that there is no end to it. Okay, we're meeting
Right.
socially and we're going to be there for 2-3 hours together. There's nothing coming after that. No problem. But when it comes to a professional during the day work time, it starts at a time and it ends at a time. And that's extremely important. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to plan the whole thing. Now, the events, what happens is, once this time is gone, you know exactly that you have lost out on it if you have not completed it. It just goes away in the calendar. But what happens with reminders is, if you are, it's not important, but it is urgent. So if you have not completed that task on the same day, it kind of starts collecting and keeps moving to the next day. All right. Hey, I've not finished it, but I need to move it to the next day. And it keeps moving. And as it keeps getting done, you know exactly that, hey, okay, this job is done. I just have to click it and it just goes away. So so every day when you start your day, it's amazing because you're not saying that what I'm going to do today. I know exactly what I have to do today. And that's clearly mentioned. And then there are tasks.
Real quick,
Tasks,
I wanted to
yeah,
say, just
sure.
break in here. I think it's really interesting is because one of the things, there's multiple views you can actually use. So one is the week view. Then if you drop down from week, you can look at just a schedule and it shows you everything that you've got planned. So that view called schedule is very useful if you just want to show that real quick. Yeah, that one, I like this view a lot, the schedule view. So when you click it, it'll just show everything kind of stacked together so you know. But the reality is, that week view and the month view will also show you where you've got open gaps. And that's really the whole purpose of doing all the calendaring is you can kind of see where you've got time available in your schedule.
Exactly. So because you know that there is a time available here, so you say, okay, I'm going to finish this book here. I've got this book that I'm reading called a Sprint. which is something very difficult to finish off in one go. It's like in seasons type you have to read. So I said, okay, I'm going to allocate some time here for us for this book out here, or on a Netflix show that I parked myself on a Saturday to see. So have you seen Peaky Blinders? I thought that was a pretty cool one, man.
I have not, but I'm very interested. What's on my to-do list for Netflix is that new Michael Schumacher documentary. That's what
Oh
I
yeah,
got.
yeah. My kids
Yeah.
have been talking about it, so I need to actually catch up with that too. All right.
Yeah.
So you put these tasks here. So the beauty about these tasks here is at the right side, you get this whole task listed one below the other. All the tasks that you keep putting in, though you have slated it here, if you've not been able to do it, it's still pending out here. And these are things which are not important, not urgent, but you want to catch up with it somewhere. So you have all of them stacked up together out here, and you have all these free spaces, so you know exactly on the go. If somebody calls you up and tells you that, hey, we need to meet today, hey, we need to meet tomorrow, and you can be very firm about it to say that, listen, this is the time I'm available, I'm going to catch up with you. And the other important thing, we are doing a lot of these online video conferencing, and for video conferencing, use Meet, Zoom. One of the things that I've noticed is, there's always a last minute rush. Hey, where's the link to join? Right? and
Yeah.
and it's such a chaos thing. People don't show up on time because I don't know which is the link, because there are so many platforms that you're doing. Now here it's so easy. Every time when you have something like this, you just go to that create, and I put that, one moment I receive that email, I just put it into the description out here. In that whole event itself, I just put it here. I never lose a link. I don't have to go back to my emails or anything of that sort. And it happens. You join 5 minutes before the
Mhm.
meeting starts, and you're not asking anybody where is that email or where is it. Now, for example, when you have multiple meetings, you have various notes that you want to keep, or there are certain files that you want to refer. Now when you do that, you can also enter and attach those files here. So for the meeting, you enter the files, you attach the files here. So for the meeting on that day of the schedule, you just click on that, and you can see all your files, and you are ready for that meeting. Now, I do this. I've been doing this now for the past 5, 6 years since I've done it. Now it's amazing how that culture has transferred within my organization. When we have our review meetings, now we over the last 1.5 years, we've had so many meetings which are done online, and we continue to be in that hybrid form. I don't have to call up my people. I don't tell them. I just have to send them a calendar invite. And moving that calendar invite, and everybody accepts it. If there is a change, they reschedule it. We reschedule the meeting, and it happens so flawlessly. And 150 people, right, in my whole organization, and they all understood that this is the way we work. There is efficiency here. That's productivity. So my 8 hours is now being effectively used. I'm able to increase my productivity, not just me, my entire team. And we have more time to do more constructive stuff. And I guess that's the whole purpose of actually putting this simple tools together. And but the buck stops with you. How do you start and want to showcase yourself as that person who believe in productivity? And this is the way I manage my time. So it's very easy to start even a conversation of any productivity. Hey, within our organization, this is the inefficiency. Can we talk about it? How can we actually fix this problem? And that's the thought process that we also bought into Pureblu. When we started thinking, saying, can we pick up so-called complex issues, break it down
Yep.
into simple processes, and see how easy it is to use? So that's about it. So Manish, you got a lot of these free times. How would you end up using these free times now, once you
Yeah.
figured
So
out?
the thing is, I work with several other startups, and so I've got different email addresses. So I have everything collapsed into one calendar,
That's right.
actually. And so for me, before it used to be, you want to make sure your inbox was free, and you defend that inbox, as we call it. You don't want to have 1,000 messages. Now for me, it's about making sure my calendar is free, and I block out times that I don't want any meetings, and everything is in that calendar request of the meeting. So this actually happened recently to me. Is we were on a call, and then we decided, hey, let's have another call next. Let's say, I think it was a Friday. So the following Friday, we were going to have a call, and somebody just sent out a quick on the WhatsApp and said, hey, let's have the call on Friday. This is the time, and here's the link. And it was in the WhatsApp group. I quickly, right away at that point, just copied it and created a calendar invite to myself to say, hey, we've got that call. And sure enough, when that call came the next week on a Friday, I was on that call with two other people. but the others were not. Why? Because they were hoping for that email to come and then they could click and accept that invite and then see it on their calendar. But it didn't. It was actually sitting in that WhatsApp group message. And that you kind of lose it. That's the problem with WhatsApp, is it just kind of gets forgotten when you have so many different groups. And so that's one of the things I make sure I do is I tell people that if it's not on my calendar and I miss it, that's maybe partly my problem, but really you should have just sent an email saying, hey, send me a calendar request. So now anytime we have anything, we just say, hey, just send me a calendar invite or a calendar request, and then I know it's on my calendar and I won't miss it. And I think that's the big thing that's really changed with the pandemic, is everyone's working remotely. So really that's the biggest thing, versus before, if you're in an office setting, you can easily grab somebody and say, hey, I've got, do you have 10 minutes? Let's talk. That no longer is possible. You kind of have to kind of plan things out. And, by using the calendar, it's just the only way you can manage your time, or you'll just go, insane with the number of requests and things happening.
So I've got a hack on this calendar sharing. So I've got a calendar
Okay.
which I share with my wife, okay? And she, every time there is a personal appointment, a family dinner, or a school appointment, she just enters it into that calendar. And the moment it enters into that calendar, it shows up on my calendar. So now it's my problem to figure out how I work around it. But I'm the school guy now, because I never miss any of those personal appointments. I don't have to keep track of it. I don't have to negotiate it. It just works around it, So you tend to kind of balance your time schedules, and then you just realize that you have more time on your hand. You're able to constructively use it and do more creative stuff. And that's how Pureblu came up, right? And that's how we actually built Pureblu. So that's about it. And if that's the little hack that we wanted to share with you on productivity as a business owner, how you can use your time effectively through these simple methods. And if you are a company that is building, which is into air conditioning services, you can always call us on this number, and we'll be happy to give you a demo of our platform. You can also write an email to us, and we'll give you an online demo of how you can take advantage of our 3 pillars, which is reliability, productivity, and accountability. And if it's for smart AMCs, and if you are in the customer who's using an AC, and I guess every one of us use it, and you are multi-locational and you need an AMC, annual maintenance contracts, which is completely having a reliable service and support, this is the number that you can call us on, or you can put us an email, and one of our engineers from our partners would actually be visiting you, and you can be rest assured that this is going to be completely a reliable service that we provide. What do you say,
Yep,
Manish?
that's one of the 3 pillars, reliability. And the idea is you've got different locations, different cities. You'll get that same level of service. You'll get the same type of reports. That's the beauty. If you're using 2 different types of, dealers, you may get different reports, different formats. Ours is all consistent. It all comes via PDF to your email with a picture of the person that did the servicing, his contact information, all of that. Just very similar to Uber, the Uber model. That's kind of what we're doing as well, but for air conditioning.
That's so cool. So yes, great. So we'll see you again next month on every second Saturday. Feel free to write to us if there's some interesting stuff that you would like to hear from us about the work that we've been doing, or about our thought processes around those 3 pillars: reliability, productivity, and accountability. We'll be happy to share that, and we'll see you next month on the second Saturday at same time to share with you another story. So thanks, Manish. I guess we've been on the spot. Have you noticed it? We've done it in exactly 30 minutes. So this is what happens. You start on time and you finish on time. And that's important, to make sure that you're managing your time effectively and you're always productive. Thank you very much.
I have something coming up at 12 o'clock. So it's in my calendar.
Awesome. Good, man. So
right.
let's see you next Saturday, next month, the second Saturday, and we'll come up with some new hack that we go through. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. See you.